Hello, and welcome to your favorite podcast. I'm your host, Richard Black, in the studio. And today we have a very interesting topic, and the topic is a topic that concerns everything from business to personal well-being, personal care, personal finance. And one of the things we're really concerned about is why do people quit? And in this 26-minute podcast, we will be covering certain aspects of our intellect, certain aspects of our belief, cognition that really defeats us in the journey to our purpose. So stay tuned and enjoy the podcast for today. And as usual, by the end of the podcast, I'll give you further information on how you can find us on Twitter, on YouTube, on Instagram, and all the rest. So stay tuned and enjoy the podcast for the week.
So today we're trying to look at business in general, and not even business. At times, so when any human being is getting himself into any endeavor or anything he's trying to do, there comes. So the question is, how long can you stay on something before you chicken out? And it's always baffled me over the years, why do people quit? And so today I decided that I was going to, do a podcast on the subject. And so it goes this way. You see, people have to get to that point in life when they realize that what we're doing is for the very long term. So one of the first things I do when I'm trying to do anything is to tell myself, look, what you're doing here, you're going to do it for the next 5 years. So I start out with that statement. Even though I know it has a gestation period of, say, 3 months, 2 months at times, I just tell myself, look, 5 years. And I learned it from one of my mentors. His name is Reverend Keith Moore. And he says, you come to understand faith when you realize that I've done this for 5,000 times and it's always worked. So that statement caught me because it means that confidence is built over a thing when you have done it for a very long time. So I just told myself, look, I'm going to be in this for the long term. I'm not going to quit or check it out or anything like that. But in studying why people quit, I found that certain things are indicators of those things. That is, can we know if people are going to quit in the next, say, 5 years or 10 years? Can we know from today? Because it's an important indices. We have to be able to know, okay, who's going to quit in the next 3 years? Who's going to quit in the next 5 years? And or the other way around, can we know the person who is never going to quit no matter what? So these informations are very, very important, especially for us and for people who look up to us and all of that. Now, make no mistake, the chances that anyone is going to quit is always there. You just put that down first. The chances that people are going to quit is there. There's no one who is bigger than quitting, right? So, which means at any stage you are in business or in your definition of endeavor, the chances that you get to that point where you think, oh, I'm going to quit is there. You can't change, you can't fix it, right? So, but what are those indicators and how might we control the likelihood of failures? That's what this podcast is about. And I read 3 basic points that can help you, have a picture of your business or your endeavor in just 3 basic pictures. Once you keep this in mind, it then helps you to know, am I on my way to quitting, or what are the chances I'm not going to quit? This is not an exhaustive list, but it's something to look out for. And on top of that list is that we found out that people who quit over time, it was that they didn't have a clear vision of the future. Clear vision of the future. So one of the things I realized is that people, so in Nigeria, here where I come from, people want to do business because they're hungry, or they try to do business because they just need something now. They're not looking at the future. And at times it's always worth it if you take, say, at times 3 months, I would have said a year, but 3 months to really crystallize your business. If you can crystallize your business, that is, have enough time to think into the future, what you want to do, and you have layers and layers and layers of things you want to do, and you make it clear. If possible, write it down. I have a photographic memory, so I know when it's time to do certain things. You understand? So when I started out, I knew the direction where we were going. It was that we were going into the media. And so anything that we were doing other than that, I knew was to make it easy for me to do what I always said I was going to do. And so that layering was the first thing that I was able to do, because I knew precisely what I wanted to do, and I knew, okay, what is the time that you're going to be free enough to get those things done. So crystallizing a future is very important. Look, it doesn't matter what you're selling. You know, I'm trying to think about all the things that you're trying to sell. You know, if I'm going to come Nigerian in beads, it doesn't matter. You get, you know, even if it's that you're selling moi or something, it doesn't matter. You know, I think what matters is what was your purpose in the first place. For instance, if it's moi you're selling, and your future is to feed the nation, your picture of the future is to feed the nation, then you see that your moi is your current environment, but feeding the nation is your macro environment. So micro and macro vision are those key indices of determining the future. Now, don't get this wrong. If you have a macro vision, I'm going to be the CEO of Forbes, I'm going to be the CEO of Google, whatever it is you think you're going to be, but you don't have a micro vision, again, you're going to quit. What that means is you're always thinking about the future. There's nothing to do today. So what I'm saying is, you must know where you're going, and then have a roadmap on a daily basis how you're going to achieve it. You know, it's useless to have a really major vision that does not boil down to a couple of steps on a daily basis. It must boil down to, okay, what am I doing today? What am I doing tomorrow? What will I do next week? You get where I'm going? So you cannot just have a vision for the future and not boil it down to things you're doing today. Boiling things down to what is actionable today is your first step to ensuring that you will achieve your goals for the next 5 years. You know, in the next five, I trade Forex, and one of the things they will say is that the chart is going to do something for the next 15 minutes. If you're trying to get your pips in 15 minutes, the chart is going to do something in the next 15 minutes. You have to do something every single day towards your goal. If your goal is to have the largest fast food chain and you're just barely starting, well, you're definitely going to have to get a shop. You're definitely going to have to get some cooks, or you're going to be the one to cook. You're going to have to do something every month, every year, every week, every month, every year. So a clear vision of the future is important, but I'm not trying to say that's all you need, right? A clear vision of the future. You must be clear. Oh, this is what I want to become. And now, get this, don't get me wrong, there's no one on earth who has thought about every single detail about the future. There's nobody like that. I don't know. No one is like that, right? But snippets. More like the way you write chapters, titles, before you start filling the body. You understand? There's nobody who is going to know every single detail as God. That's the only one who knows every tiny little detail of what's going to happen tomorrow. But you don't know that, so you have to leave that alone. But notwithstanding, you should have a picture. Oh, well, I think in the next 5 years, I'm going to be doing this and this and this. And when that works, then in the next, it'll open up new doors for me to do more than that in the next 10 years. So maybe in the next 10 years, I would then have mega stores. And then maybe in the next 15 years, I would move to the United States and start selling in the United States, sell my money in the United States. But the truth is, knowing the smallest ability to start what you're doing and the largest ability to start to do what you started is the most important thing I just said. I'll say that again. Knowing the smallest way you can do a thing and then the biggest way you can continue doing it is what a clear vision means. Now, secondly, one of the things that makes people quit, remember we're discussing the issue of why do people quit or what makes them quit, and you see someone who started a business and 10 years later the business is going down, and somebody else starts the business and 200 years later the business is still continuing. You would wonder, how did they do it? Well, I'm not God, but I'm trying to tell you some things about it because I do have some experience. 12 years in business now, I know exactly how these things go, at least a little bit. But the second thing I found out is the fear factor. People have this erroneous belief that the bigger your business grows, the more confidence you get, and that's not true. That's not true. I can tell you that it's not true, right? Because there is an inward flaw in humanity, and it is that he has certain negative emotions. He doesn't have to do anything to get it. It's almost like the knowledge of good and evil. There is a good part of humanity and there is a bad part of humanity. One of those is fear. Humans have morphed into agents of fear. They fear for just about any reason. And at times you don't know the scale at which people fear the things they fear. People fear for just about every reason. People fear the kid's going to get killed. Maybe their house is going to burn down. People do business because they feel, well, I have to invest in this just in case. A lot of decision is being made on fear. As a matter of fact, advertisers target fears as a tool to get their business selling across to you. One of those people who use fear to market is in insurance companies. They try to make you realize you're going to die one of these days, so you better, insure your life so your kids don't get in trouble. So it's always there. So people do business for the first 5 years, and everything is all rosy and cozy, and then by the 5th or 6th years, things start to change. Economic factors begin to change, and then the fear factor comes in, and then they go, oh, I can't go through this anymore, and then they feel, oh, well, what if then they start receding backwards to think, well, what if I have something else that I'm supposed to do? And so and this is the part that really baffles me, because they had this fear when they were starting out. Usually that's how I respond to it. You had those fears when you were starting out, but somehow you pull through those fears, and then you had the success. Now, 5 years down the line, you are then blinded by those same successes, and you have forgotten that how you grow, like my pastor would say, How you grow is how you grow. You don't ungrow a different way. Like, that's how you grow, right? You're not, it's not going to change, right? And so fear was there when you started out. If fear was there when you started out, fear never stops. I mean, ask any CEO, they're scared they're going to lose their company. Everybody feels that way. So you don't want to have that kind of thought, hanging around you for too long. It's just not good. And so a lot of people think that business, if your business gets to really incredible heights, that you're still, that there's no fear in your heart. Well, that's a lie. People fear at any stage of business. The other day, a younger business colleague was asking me, do you fear that you're going to make it? I said, yes, I still did this morning. And he was shocked. Well, yeah, 12 years. And so there's nobody who's immune to this thing. There's nobody who's immune to this thing. It's just there. And we're all going to have to keep the fear going while we keep the dreams coming, right? There's nothing. There's some days you're going to be confident. There's some other days you're not going to be confident. It's always going to be there. But there's something I noticed, though, that once the fear gets to a certain height, it's an arrival point. If you can hold on for another month or another 2 months, even fear will relapse. What I'm saying is simple. If at the peak of your fears, you hold on for another 2 months till all of that feeling dissipates, most of the times I've observed that you will see a beacon of light somewhere. I don't know how this happens, but I just found out that nothing keeps going in one single direction. It always changes course. I mean, if you look at the Forex chart, nobody's ever buying. You don't ever see a candle that keeps going up and never corrects or retraces. It always goes up and down. Things don't change. Even evil does not continue for a very long period of time. It will pause with some good and then continue again and pause some and continue again and pause some. So what I'm saying is, whatever it is that was feeding your fear, if you could hold on for another 1 month. Now, I use 1 month because I want you to feel expandable, right? But usually it never lasts beyond 3 days or 2 days. Nobody's ever afraid every single day, even in war, right? So there's a period when, you just get that respite for your soul, if you could put it that way. So the fear factor is why people quit. And what I'm trying to tell you is that, look, once the fear gets into your business, just hold on. Hey, ignore it. Ignore it, right? You don't have to listen to the fear. Don't forget, for you to be successful already, it meant that you had crossed the fear. Business has the same method across board. It doesn't change. If you've done business for the past 5 years and you were able to scale through, then you had passed through what almost every businessman has passed through. So if you had passed through all of that, and then you get to that point of safety, don't think that it has gone. No, there are cycles. Don't forget, if fear does not continue for a very long time, it also means that nothing continues for a long time. There's always breaks and pauses in between where things go the other direction and then comes back again to go higher, right? It's just like when you are a coin or a currency is buying, and then it's going to retrace. Let me say it buys to $1, and then it retraces about 80 cents, and then by the time it's coming back for a bullish run, it goes to $1.20. So exactly, that's how it is. So once fear gets in, hold on, withstand the pressure. If you give it another 3 weeks or 4 weeks, you'll see yourself past that level. So the fear there is like the examination of the current level where you are. Keep that in mind. The fear that's in your heart right now is like the current examination for the level where you are at this moment. If you pass that examination, you go into a higher class. That's just basically how it is. So a second thing that makes people quit is the fear factor. And I'm not talking about the fear when you're starting. I'm talking about the fear when your business has achieved a monumental success, and then you get to that height where you are clueless again, like when you started. And then you start asking yourself, how did I pull through when I was starting out? You start asking, am I the same one that pulled through when I was starting out? Yes, you're the same one that pulled through. What is it requesting from you? It's requesting the same thing you gave it when you started, right? Fear is coming for the same response. If you can give it to it, it'll back off. And then guess what? It'll be back another 5 years. So it's not going forever, right? We're always going to be afraid, and you have to put it under control. And then lastly, because I don't want this podcast to be too lengthy and all of that, so I will stop here. The last one is the speed of innovation. And this is how this affects your business. So most people, right, don't understand that there is a macro environment and there's a micro environment. The micro environment is the environment where you control maybe your friends, your business colleagues, and stuff like that. All of you, right, are doing business together. You're controlling price. You're controlling what you're working with. In some cases, you might be the leader in your sector and all of that. But there's a macro environment, right? I'll give you an example. So the micro environment was artists, drawing, painting, Picasso. They'd frame it and put it in the hall, and they'd buy the frames, buy the work of art and stuff like that. That was the micro environment. The micro environment, they trained new artists. The artists were subservient to them. They controlled the means. They controlled the ends. They controlled everything. It was a micro environment. They didn't have any choice. If you were to create a work of art, you had to learn that steep curve of learning before you become a Picasso or a Da Vinci or whatever it was. That was controlled for 1,000 years. It was thousands of years, right? From the days of Aristotle all the way to here. People have been drawing even way before that. So, right? So that was not a thing. But guess what? There was a macro environment, and the macro environment was rooted deeply in technology. And so last year, new waves of technology began to come in, and one of them was Midjourney, right? So Midjourney comes up and it's going to upturn every single thing that they have done. And then there's a squirm in the artist community about the injustice of technology towards artists. No, but that is true. But then again, because you exist in a macro environment, there are certain things that will happen in those other places that may affect your business. And so if you are too slow in response to your macroeconomic indices, then you start having problems. Once you stop responding quickly to macro environments, it can get easily overwhelming. If you were an artist who didn't know how to use a computer and you didn't know how to do anything, you didn't know what to do per se, do you see how quickly you're in trouble? Because now you have to learn how to use a PC, now you have to learn how to use Windows, now you have to learn how to use Midjourney. If the entire concept is alien to you, you never thought it was necessary to get a PC and stuff like that, now the PC has come for your business, how are you going to respond? So if you allow a lengthy period of time to pass on innovation, it becomes too difficult to respond or to learn. And then because of the speed of innovation, your business can be easily ousted, right? So it's like someone who learned how to print with the Heidelberg, but now doesn't pay attention to the fact that there's large format printers, there's an HP printer, there's Epson printers, all kinds of printer that can get you thousands of copies in less than 30 minutes. But you had, the principle of, get your plates, and all of that. It's going to take you a long time before you catch up, right? So that's the third thing I think is a real issue, because innovation is moving at a very rapid speed. Would you say geometric, right, pace? It's moving in leaps, right? if you don't really hop on innovation as quick as possible, it becomes a big monster that you cannot even control. So these are the things I've seen over time, and I thought it's something to share with you today. How do you respond to these three things? Number one, let's go back. Number one, sit down today, right, and write a vision. If you already have a vision and then you're clueless, just go back again and check. In my vision board, are we good? Yes. If your vision board is good, don't bother. It's just a fear factor. Now, you look your fears in the face and say, well, I've had this fear before, right? And I was able to pull through. I'm just going to give you some more time and see how things turn out. And don't ever forget this statement. Nothing continues for a long time. There's always a change of course. Change is constant. Even your fear will change to hope in another 3 weeks or 2 weeks. And I'm just being conservative. It can be even faster than that. And lastly, my best advice about the speed of innovation is, look, as innovations come, pay attention to it and follow this innovation. Don't let it catch up with you. I told someone the other day, I said, look, people who didn't take computers seriously when it started might find it very difficult to take computers seriously anymore, because it's now moved from we using it to compute to it computing by itself. It's changed, and it's something that you need to keep following. Just look around your business. What is the latest thing? Pay attention to it, because once it compounds, it can easily make you feel hopeless. And once you start getting hopeless, you start getting afraid. Once you start getting afraid, you start losing your clarity of vision, and then you're going to quit. Eventually, what makes people quit is that they don't see the future. But you see, the last two are those things that make people not see the future. Once you cannot see the future, you're going to quit. You'll think something else is better than what you're doing. But look, nothing is better than what you're doing. The truth is, if you don't do it, who will? How is the society going to be blessed when you quit from your own duty post? You are manning that business so that we can take advantage of your experience in that area. If you don't build that experience, if you quit, then who is going to do it? You understand? So I thought this was going to encourage you. Till we see next time, peace. Stay where you are, and you're going to be fine. And don't quit. See ya.
All right, so that's it. We've come to the end of the podcast for today. I hope you were super encouraged. I hope it helped. If you want to have any other information with us, you can check us on YouTube at Made of Black. Or you can check us on Spotify. Subscribe to us on Spotify. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. And stay with yourself. Stay with your business. Remember, you are manning that post so that we can take advantage of your experience. So don't quit. Don't get tired. Pursue your dreams relentlessly. And soon enough, you'll be there helping others just as we're helping each other. Stay blessed. Have a great week ahead.